Imagine someone asked you, what are all the benefits of getting enough water to drink? What are all the benefits of getting enough sleep every night? I mean, if you tried to list out all the benefits of these things, you'd be going on forever. And in fact, if you tried to think of things that these wouldn't help, you'd struggle because these things are just so fundamental that they're going to help basically whatever you do. It doesn't matter whether you're studying, whether you're an actor, whether you're an academic, whether you're an athlete or a CEO, an elite business person. It doesn't matter who you are or what you're trying to do. These things are so fundamental that they will help you achieve those outcomes. Hypnosis is very much the same way because it works with your mind, with your unconscious mind. There's virtually nothing in life that doesn't involve your mind in some way. So when people ask me or ask other people, what is hypnosis good for? What can it do? What problems can it solve? It can do just about anything. Because what part of your life doesn't somehow rely on your mind, your ability to focus, to solve problems, to think creatively, to remember what you need to remember, and to stay calm and present when you need to stay calm and present? Having said that, there are many common applications of hypnosis. So if you have concerns or issues with any of these things, you are going to find plenty of hypnotists out there who will be able to help you with these. Things like weight loss. Weight loss is a complicated thing. So many different variables influence your weight. It can be things like your gut biome and your genetics and your age and all sorts of things. But a huge part of it is going to be your mind. Things like, are you an emotional eater? Do you have bad habits around food? If so, then working with hypnosis can make a really big difference. Or you could say it'll make a really small difference. Because once you change your habits, the way you think about food and the way you approach things like food and your own emotional well-being, then everything else will change too. Now let's talk about this hypnosis classic, smoking. Let's say that you've struggled to quit smoking in the past. Then that's okay, hypnosis can help with that as well. Because think about it, quitting smoking should be the easiest thing in the world. It should be easier than smoking, seeing as how smoking is a thing to do, whereas quitting smoking is just not doing that thing. But the reason it's so hard for some people to quit is that it's this ingrained habit. It's this thing that they've been doing for so long that they're not really sure how to stop doing that. And that's where hypnosis can help. It can work on your unconscious mind in such a way that it changes the way you think about these things. It changes the habits where they live. Things like enhanced performance. So if you're like an athlete or an actor or an executive or an artist or anyone who needs to enter these mental states where you just perform at your peak, where you're just switched on and everything just flows, everything just becomes simple. You're not in your head, you're not distracted, you're just here in this moment fully focused on what it is you need to do. Again, hypnosis can help entrain these states into you and to give you ways of accessing and activating this state of mind whenever you need it. And what about something like anxiety alleviation? Because in a way, anxiety is just another habit. It's a way of thinking about the world that is probably not serving you the best. Well, with hypnosis, you can explore those thought patterns. You can find out what's really going on inside your mind on an unconscious level. And once you begin to understand it, once you begin to see what's really going on in there, then you'll have the means to change it. And that is really what this is all about. Overcoming insomnia. Insomnia is an interference with an automatic, natural biological process. For most healthy people, when they're tired, they lie down, they close their eyes with the intention to sleep, then they drift off and then they begin to sleep. But if something is interfering with that, it's something in your mind. There's some thought loop perhaps. This is assuming that you haven't just drank 6 cups of coffee in the last 2 hours. But if you're in a state where you should go to sleep, where you're physically and mentally tired, the lights are low, you're lying down, you're physically relaxed, but for some reason you can't, then there is something in your mind running automatically in the background that is keeping you up. And hypnosis can work on those sorts of thought processes at that level and help change that. And what about tinnitus, the ringing in your ears? For most people who have tinnitus, they don't even really notice it or they just ignore it. But for some people, it's a real problem. It's this distracting hum and buzz that stops them from focusing and drowns out other more useful sounds. The cool thing about hypnosis is if you've seen a stage hypnosis show, you probably know that hypnotists can get people to see things that aren't really there. You can hallucinate like a monster or an attractive person or whatever on the stage where everyone else just sees nothing. Hypnosis can also do the opposite. It can remove things from your sensory environment, and that includes the ringing in your ear. The other thing that hypnosis can do with tinnitus is, like I said, most people, they just ignore it. So if there's something that you're doing, like you hear the ringing and it bothers you and you get stressed out and annoyed at it, that's just going to most likely make that worse, because you're bringing all of this emotion and energy and all these thoughts to the ringing in your ear. And it's kind of like if you just start thinking about the color blue, then the more you think about blue and you focus on blue and you bring to mind things that are blue, you're going to notice more blue things around you. If you're fixating on this sound in your ear, it's going to do something similar. You're going to notice that more and what you want to be noticing less. So by changing that mental habit so that you focus on what you really want to be focusing on, it can become less of a problem. Things like erectile dysfunction. No one wants to talk about it, but if you have this problem, then you really want to know what the solution is. Well, again, this is a system within the body that very much relies on the mind. Because as I'm sure you can imagine, and if you're a guy, you can definitely know from experience, that without doing anything different in your environment, without doing anything different in your body, simply by changing what you're thinking about, you can cause things to, shall we say, respond. If something in that loop, if in that connection isn't working, then again, hypnosis can work on the level of your mind, your unconscious mind, and figure out what's going on there to stop this natural, healthy response from occurring, and replace that with something that's a little bit more useful. Something that a lot of people complain about is chronic blushing. They find that they have like pale skin like mine, and whenever they're in a situation around other people, or maybe it's at work or whatever, they just go completely pink. That's not really a big deal, but they might find it a bit embarrassing. Well, once again, this is something that your body does. It's a physiological response in reaction to what's going on in your mind. Because for most people, they'll blush when they get excited or when they notice something really interesting. Something gets things like elevated. If you're the sort of person who has chronic blushing, then there's something going on with that process where your cheeks, for whatever reason, are hypersensitive to this need to just illuminate with color. And again, there's nothing really wrong with that, but it is definitely something that if it bothers you, hypnosis can help with. Now, here's an interesting, if unfortunate one: repairing a broken heart. If you go through a situation where a treasured relationship ends for whatever reason, then it's natural to feel a whole gamut of emotions. You can feel like the quote unquote negative things like the grief and the anger and the sadness. You can also feel gratitude and happiness simply by the fact that you had that relationship in the first place. And all of this is perfectly natural, it's perfectly healthy. Where it becomes less desirable is where the days, the weeks, the months go on, and those emotions, especially the negative ones, don't naturally fade away. For some people, they even get stronger. Well, once again, this is something that's happening outside your conscious awareness. If every little thing in your environment is reminding you of what you've lost, is reminding you of the heartbreak, then your mind has these habits, these automatic processes that aren't really serving you all that well. If everything that you see around you is just making you feel the grief and the anger and the sadness, then those reactions are probably not something that you can consciously control. But with hypnosis, you can explore that and you can find ways of healthily processing those emotions so that you can move on from them. Phobias. Hypnosis is famous for working with phobias and resolving them. It's really quite a powerful thing because, once again, this is an automatic response in your body and your mind based on something that you're thinking. Like most people, if they see a snake in a secure cage on the other side of the room, they might go, "Oh, cool, that's a snake." They might go, "Ew," like keep it away. But if you have this response where you just have this full-blown, like this thing is an immediate threat, and your heart starts pumping and you just focus in on that and you just feel the fear and the terror all through your body, that's not very helpful. And it's also an automatic response that's going on in your mind. Well, hypnosis can work with these thought processes, these emotions that cascade one to the other, that happen so fast that you have no conscious control over them. Because this is an unconscious process, hypnosis can work at that level and resolve the phobia. Now, a really interesting one, and a lot of people ask about this, is how do you get rid of a bad hypnotic suggestion? Maybe someone was clumsy and they installed something in you that you don't want, or maybe someone used hypnosis in maybe a less than ethical way on you. How do you get rid of their suggestions? How do you undo hypnosis? Well, my answer, surprise, surprise, is to find a good hypnotist and work with them, because the best cure for bad hypnosis is good hypnosis. Because if someone installed something bizarre, like whenever you see a tomato, you feel angry, for example, hypnosis could do that. That's an automatic reaction that's happening in your unconscious mind. If you try to consciously resist that, well, maybe it'll work, maybe it won't. And if it doesn't work, then hypnosis, working at the level of the unconscious, is excellent at untangling all of that and removing the suggestion that you no longer want. Now, this isn't even close to all the things that hypnosis can help with. Again, it's like the getting enough water, getting enough sleep. Anything that involves your mind, which is anything in your life at all, can incorporate hypnosis in some way to help not only clear out the things that are not so useful in your natural, automatic, and unconscious responses to things, but also to help cultivate and create new, better, more useful ways of responding. You can think of this as like forming better habits, but much more reliably, much faster, and even on such an unconscious level that you don't even know what the habit is. All you know is that it's something truly wonderful. All right, and thanks for watching. Now, this is normally the part where I invite you to like and subscribe, and you can do that if you want, but I really don't care, because the more valuable thing for you and for me is to follow the link in the description and follow the link below, because if you're interested in using hypnosis to improve your life, then there are some things it's really handy to know first. And so I've written a free report that'll tell you how to get the most out of hypnosis. It'll answer all your questions, including how to find a great hypnotist, what to do before, during, and after the sessions, and just all the basic little things which you don't even really know what to ask about yet. It's got all that information. The best part is it's not going to cost you anything. All you need to do is follow the link and get your hands on it. All right, bye-bye.